motioning for her to come closer, this time nodding his head up and down as if to say yes. After a while, my grandma realized my mom had been gone longer than expected and went to see what was taking so long. I want to start off by saying that I submitted this story to a pod and another community here on Reddit, but BC they're months behind on stories. I thought this was a good place to post it. To give a little backstory on the home that this takes place in, it was located in Cutler, CA, an extremely small town with fields for miles. This house was in a very rural area, but the owner of this home owned a packing company, and so weirdly a packing building was located like right next to the house. It was found out after my mom moved out that the son of the man who owned the property was a bleep, and he would often throw benders in the house where sadly many people would overdose and pass away. My mom believes that this was the reason so many spirits wandered this home. Now to finally get into the story, my mom was about 7 or 8 years old when this happened. She said it was shortly after they had moved into the house. One day, her sister's boyfriend was exploring the fields behind the house when he found a medium-sized brown dog with big blue eyes. The dog was tied up with a rope and reeked of gasoline. He brought the dog back to the house, and they washed it outside with the hose. My grandma told everyone that she didn't want to keep the dog inside if it had fleas. Later that night, while my mom was watching TV in the living room, either my uncle or my grandma spotted a tick on the dog. To get rid of it, my grandma sent my mom into the kitchen to grab the matches from the cabinet so they could bleep the tick. To help you understand the layout a little better, the kitchen was attached to the dining room, which was basically made entirely of glass windows. The dining room was shaped kind of like a U and had a glass table in the middle. Since my mom was so young, she wasn't tall enough to reach the cabinet. She had to climb onto the countertops to grab the matches, which meant she had her back turned toward the dining room. After she grabbed the matches, she sat on the counter, getting ready to jump down. As she looked up toward the dining room nook, she saw standing across the dining table was the devil. She said he had one human leg, while the other looked like a horse's leg. He was wearing a coat she described as having the structure of a blazer, but made from a knitted material. She said he looked mostly human, but parts of him were animal-like, and he was furry like a goat. His hands looked human, but his nails were like a dog's, not unkempt though, like if a dog had recently went to the groomers. She said like a candy corn shape. His face was thin, his eyes were sunken in, and the only way she could describe his face was evil. She said it was as if time had stopped. The air suddenly felt thick as they made eyes contact. The devil raised his hand and beckoned for her to come to. She said it felt as though he was speaking to her through her mind. She could hear him telling her to come, even though his mouth never moved. When she tried to respond, she couldn't speak. The only thing she could do was shake her head from side to side, refusing to go. He curled his finger again, motioning for her to come closer, this time nodding his head up and down as if to say yes. After a while, my grandma realized my mom had been gone longer than expected and went to see what was taking so long. As soon as my grandma walked into the kitchen, my mom turned toward her and began pointing in the direction where she saw the devil. My grandma kept asking what was wrong, but my mom could only shake and point, completely unable to speak. My grandma later said it felt like my mom had a fever. Her skin was hot to the touch, yet she was shivering as though she were freezing. After a while, my mom finally managed to tell my grandma that there was a man in the dining room, thinking someone had broken into the house. My grandma and my uncle grabbed a bat and searched the backyard, but after my mom described the man as having one regular leg and one animal leg, my grandma realized what my mom had seen: the devil. Thank you for reading. That's my mother experience, and if you have another idea as to what it might have been, please let me know.